Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another great episode of the REDX podcast. We are glad to have you here. I'm Robert Sullivan. I'll be your host today, and I am joined by Sam Sawyer from Pinnacle Realty Advisors. And Sam, we're happy to have you here. Just say hi to everyone real quick.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk with you today.
We're excited to have you, and we'll get into. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. Sam has been an agent. He runs a franchise. He's worked in a lot of different companies in the real estate industry. So we're going to get a unique perspective on several things today. But before we jump in, just a couple housekeeping items. As always, this is a participatory event. So go ahead and in the comments, say hi, tell us where you're from. And if you have a question, go ahead and put it in there. We'll try to get to it during the show. If we don't get to it during the show, then we'll talk more about it on our Facebook group at the Lead Gen Conversation. You can find us there where we can keep the conversation going. And as always, if you want to know about upcoming podcasts and other content that we're producing, just visit us at redx.com/podcast and subscribe. But again, we're glad to have you here. Sam, we're glad to have you here. But I'd love for you to take just a second, introduce yourself to everybody that is joining us today.
Yep. My name's Sam Sawyer. I'm based in Austin, Texas now. I've been in the real estate industry since I was 19 years old, and now I'm 36, so almost half my life. But I got my license when I was in undergrad in school in Dallas, and then started working as an agent at a Sotheby's firm in Dallas for 4 or 5 years, and then left there and launched a traditional brokerage firm with 2 other agents in Dallas that we ended up selling to Compass in end of 2018 and launched Compass in Texas. Then spent a few years in Silicon Valley at a fintech like mortgage startup called Zero Down. Then left there at a very interesting time, August of 2020, to start a new company, which in retrospect seems a little crazy, but it's going well so far. And this company is like a subscription-based real estate brokerage, cloud-based. We're in 5 states now. We've got close to 600 agents.
Wow.
It's a venture-backed company. So yeah, it's a fast-moving business, and we want to build it into like a nationwide type brand. So I'm the CEO of that company and founder. So, yep, that's kind of my background.
And hopefully everybody that was just paying attention, and we're getting some highs and waves here. I mean, that's an impressive resume. And that's why I'm excited about the things that we'll be talking about today, because I mean, from basically every angle, you've worked in the industry. And so you have some unique perspectives. And actually, if you're okay with it, I wanted to start with something that I think works in every part of the business. And I know it works in any market condition. And it's something I think people forget about. And that is something as simple as working your sphere of influence. So I just wanted to start there, and I'm going to let you share some of your experience maybe, and then we'll have some questions about that. But I know that's something that you've done across all your businesses. So tell us a little bit about what you've done and seen in keeping in contact with your sphere of influence.
Yeah. When I started, I was a solo agent, just working on my own. I wasn't on a team, which I would say to brand new agents, it's way better to join a team early on, because I think you can compound like 4 years of messing things up like I did into like 1 year. And so I always tell new agents, it's better to start out on a team. But for my whole career, I was an agent for over 10 years. And the way I got 80% of my business was just kind of keeping in touch with old clients. But, if you're a new agent, people are like, well, I don't have old clients. Well, most people have lots of friends that need homes, because residential real estate's one of the only things in the entire world where every single person or meet needs a place to live. No matter what. It's one of the only things that when you think about it, it's kind of crazy. But so I used to, if I ran into someone at lunch, I would just send them like a note in the mail or a text or call them. And so I think just keeping in touch with people, not in a annoying way by any means, but just letting people know you're thinking about them. not always trying to push real estate specific things in front of them. It's something as simple as, hey, like, just wanted to see how you're doing. Or I have a stack of thank you notes still, right? I still do this to this day where I write, like, I'll probably send Robert a note after this podcast that I said this. But just really like finding unique ways to keep in touch with people. And then, once you do start building your business up, you know, past clients, it's one of the easiest ways to get new clients. And a lot of agents completely mess this up. Even some of the best agents in America, they sell someone a house and they just kind of go on to the next client or next deal. And when you have someone that's happy, hopefully, with your service, and they're more than willing to send you their friends or family or whatnot. But a lot of people think they're being annoying, which is something I learned. Like, real estate agents automatically think that someone's going to send them business because all of us are salespeople, and we're like, why would someone not think about that? But in reality, like, you have to ask, and there's the right and wrong way to me to ask. And I think if you're sincere and you call someone a month after they moved in, like, hey, I had a really great time helping you find a house. If you ever need someone, if you ever know of anyone else looking for a house in this neighborhood or anywhere else, like, I'd love to help them. And I really think it's that simple, but it's just doing it. It sounds crazy, but I just used to set reminders to check in with people. I was never a big gift person. Like, I mean, closing gifts is one thing, but some agents will, drop gifts at people's houses or things like that. But I had a lot of success just writing handwritten notes. And I still do that now with our business in a different way. But I think really just keeping in touch with people is one of the biggest ways to grow your business. And over time, it just grows and grows because every house leads to a new network or a new group of friends. And then, it just kind of snowballs from there. So that's helped me a lot when I was an agent, for sure.
I love it a lot. And I love the old school approach of a handwritten note, because I think that's just kind of a lost art right now, right? That people that would stand out so much in today's environment that it would set you apart. Did you ever use in the different places that you're at, did you ever have different systems to help remind you of when to contact people, or are you just like remember all of it, or kind of what was your system to reaching out to people?
Yeah, so I've probably tried every software on under the sun in the industry, but I used to use there's a software product called A-Frame, like a CRM product. It's actually a friend of mine that's an agent in Dallas built it. His name's Burton Rhodes. He kind of built it because he was an agent and needed something to organize himself, and then he turned it into a business. And so a lot of agents in Dallas use that. But it was really just like a transaction management tool, and then you could set reminders about, following up with people or checking in. I've used things as simple as spreadsheets, and really, though, A-Frame, and then I was really good about sending out emails, like in MailChimp. I was not an agent that had I didn't like automating a lot of that, honestly. I loved automating the remembering, like to remind myself, but I think some agents try to automate the follow-up a little too much, and then you just kind of become another email in someone's inbox. I really think you have to call or text or write someone a note. And however you want to remind yourself of that, that's awesome. I literally used to set like calendar reminders where I would spend one day a month just writing people notes, like for 3 or 4 hours. Like, it was Tuesday. I don't know why I did that, because Monday was always crazy after the weekend. And Tuesday, like 10 to 1, for whatever reason, was my time to like write people notes. And I would just get a stack of like 10 or 15, and I wouldn't stop. You just make yourself think of someone to send a note to, and then when you run out of notes, you're good.
I love the idea of automating the reminder, because in real estate, you're in a people business, and you can't automate the human connection. You can get your data, you can get your leads, you can make sure that that you're following up and you get those reminders. But at some point, you have to be on the phone, or you have to write it, you have to drop a note, you have to make that human connection, right? Like, there's no escaping that.
Yeah. No, I know. I get automated emails from real estate agents a lot now, and it's like you read them, but it's not the same as getting. I mean, even some people think texting is impersonal, but I really think with old clients, they do that does, that is better than like a blanket email to me. So whatever, whatever works, and different age groups of people respond to different things too, I think. So
Yeah, no, I agree, and I really like that. And a question that comes up a lot when we're talking about this, and you kind of touched on it, but a lot of times people say, "Hey, how do I reach out without sounding too salesy?" You know,
right.
they're worried like, "Am I going to sound pushy if I call them on the phone and I haven't talked to them since the sell?" Or like, so what are some things that you might coach somebody or you help somebody that says, "Ah, that's a good idea, but I don't know how to do it without sounding salesy."
Yeah, no, I mean, our agents ask me that same question a lot, and to me, I think if you're just sincere and just tell them why you're reaching it, I think it's weirder if someone like tries to act like they're not asking for the business and reaches out. Like, it's better to me just to be direct and say, "Hey, like, just wanted to check in. I always would love to help anyone you know, and you don't feel like you have to send me someone, but I just like to remind my past clients that I'd love to help because some people don't think that I want to help." Um, and it's more like just letting them know without being too direct. That's something that really took me a long time because you don't just want to send someone an email and say, "Hey, like, do you have anyone that I can call to like, help them find a house?" It's more like, "Here's a house I sold in your neighborhood recently, or I just listed a home in your neighborhood. Do you have any friends looking for something in the neighborhood?" Um, but I really think just being honest about it, like they know that that's how you make money. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's shocking though that some people think that their old clients don't want to help. I used to hear that all the time when I would ask people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I didn't know, I thought you were so busy that maybe you didn't want another client." And you're like, "No, I would love." There's never, we're never too busy. Um, so I do think you just have to be sincere about it, or if you have something in common with the person, it's easier to reach out and just catch up with them about. Like, I'm a big cyclist and love bike riding, so for whatever reason, a lot of my clients were also cyclists. So it's like if you just have something in common with someone, it's also easy to talk about that, and then just ask them about real estate also. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think another one though is like giving people info that can help them. Like if a home sells near someone's home that you sold, like, "Hey, this home just sold for this, thought you might want to know." Just because I think everyone loves to know what their home is worth, even though they
Yeah.
don't want to admit it. But that's why Zillow's a $10 billion company because of this estimate. So it's super personal, but I think just going about it the right ways and art a little bit. But
Yeah, I like it, and I think one thing that you said that kind of stood out to me is that, on the one hand, obviously be sincere. There's other things you can talk about, but also don't be afraid to
right,
say like, "Hey, by the way, this is how this is how my job.
yeah,
I'm going to follow up." So there's a little bit of that of like, "Hey, don't be afraid to sound
right.
salesy because that's actually what you're doing."
I think that's the most important. You have to be direct. It's weirder if you're like texting someone that you don't know that well, like, "Hey, how's it going?" Or like, "Hey, a new restaurant opened down the street." They're like, "This guy's being weird." Like,
Yeah.
I think it's better if you are just direct and let them know and leave it at that. And don't be too pushy, but let them know that you would love to help, and it can be a statement and not a question.
Yeah.
Like, "Hey, I'd love to help. Just wanted to let you know. Hope everything's great. If you need anything, call me." It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be long. A lot of people overthink it. Um, 2 or 3 sentences at most.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. This is really, really good advice. And I want to shift gears just a little bit because I
Mhm.
was just doing some math in my head. And if
Mhm.
you started 18 years ago,
Mhm.
and that means you were selling houses in 2008,
Yeah, it was the
and
worst
when
time ever.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
you've seen the ups and downs in the industry, is what I'm
I
saying.
mean
And we have some people here, and now you have 600 agents
Uh-huh.
that you're helping out, and so I would love to hear some of your thoughts on. Obviously, this market has shifted of what it was the last couple of years, and so what are you telling those agents that you're working with? What do you see coming up in the next couple months in the industry?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question. So to me, I think 2023 will be a great year. It'll be more like how maybe 2019 was, or like I think like the COVID year, 2020 was way down, and then it was way crazy. 2021 was crazy. And now like the market is just kind of calming down. And it reminds me of just like a more normal
Yeah.
market. I think the last 2 years, people have gotten used to homes selling in 48 hours, and interest rates were at all-time lows, and inventory levels really haven't caught up in America since 2008 and 2009 because so many home builders went out of business, and this is something a lot of people don't even realize, but the number of homes in America still hasn't caught up to the amount of people that are being born and moving and living here. So I think 2023, like maybe we'll see, single digit price appreciation in some markets, and some markets that went way up during the last couple of years will see price declines. I think a lot of that's job growth driven. So like I think this year you'll see a huge gap between cities where there's job growth and places where there's not. But I don't buy into some of the headlines I read, like, oh, prices are down 40% in Austin. Like you see that one a lot. It's like no one remembers that prices went up 120% the last 2 years. Like seriously, like some neighborhoods in Austin, homes 3x, like even in my neighborhood right here, it's like that's not a healthy market. Inventory was like less than 2 weeks in some parts of America, and
Yeah.
a healthier market is like 90 days. And so I don't know. I think people that have been in the industry as long as I have would share this sentiment. And people that started in the last 2 years are panicking because they think that everything should sell in 2 weeks. And I mean, I remember listing homes and hoping they would sell in 4 months.
Yeah.
And then I think the only reason I'm still in this industry is because when I graduated college, I couldn't get any other job, so I just kept selling homes. And if you can sell homes in 2008 to 2010, this looks way better than that. I will tell everyone on here that for
Yeah.
sure. Um,
No,
but
I
no,
think a lot of people will be
yeah,
glad to hear that for sure. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I think people are worried, especially those that have entered the market in the last couple years, and
yeah,
and do think that the norm should be, a 24-hour
yeah,
turnaround, right?
definitely not. Um, And interest rates to me, that's something you can't control. So it's like if you're fine paying more per month, you're going to have less competition. Like if you're a buyer right now, you can actually go look at homes. There's not 20 offers on a house. And if rates go down significantly in the next couple of years, which I don't think they will, to be honest, just because I think that things have been artificially low the last decade, but you can always refinance your loan. So I don't know. I think everyone loves sensational headlines, obviously, in our country, but real estate is one where they really do. There's always people that want to buy homes, and so you can always find people that need to move or want to move. It's different than any other industry to me because it's not purely a business decision to move. A lot of times it's a life decision, or
Yeah.
you're moving cities, or you have another kid, or so I don't know. I think
Yeah.
people just need to remember that sometimes too.
Yeah, and that's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
So I want to come full circle a little bit, and I hope I don't catch you off guard with my next question. But
Yep.
because we started talking sphere, we've talked the market. When we were talking sphere, you said, "Hey, I like to get to a point where 80% of my business was coming from
Right.
repeat and referral." What are you? What maybe did you do, or what are you coaching your guys, your agents right now for that other 20% for new client acquisition in today's market?
Right. So, I mean, we have all types of agents at this firm, and I've worked, with all kinds of agents. And, some people like are similar to how I was, where you just work your network. I remember there were some agents like at Sotheby's and Compass where they used, tools like REDX or, Zillow leads or other things. And they loved, you can get so many leads from those systems if you're willing to put in the effort and work those systems. And so like I also used to get a lot of clients at open houses just because I like talking to people, as you can probably tell. Um, but I think for the right agent, if tools like REDX, like the expired listings tools or the other tools that you have, people just need to be ready for the influx of leads and things. Because I think people, if they start using lead generation tools that they're not set up or are ready to, respond quickly or, you know, use the tool to their advantage, then they don't get anything out of it. And then people think it's the tool's fault when really it's their fault. I mean, I tell our agents this, I'm like, if you're going to pay for leads or use a system, you have to be on it and you have to respond quickly and you have to be ready to go show someone a house or look at a house in the next hour. It's not like you buy leads and call them back a week later. So I think for new agents, you can get way ahead by using lead generation tools if you are ready to use them. I hate when people say that, oh, the tool didn't work, because
Yeah.
it's not the tool's fault. It's usually the agent is not ready for the tool's velocity, is how I think about it.
No, I like it. And if I was to take all the thing, like all three subjects that we've talked about,
Mhm.
and say, hey, this is what I think Sam's telling us, I'd put a Nike check mark on it. I'd say, just do it. I
Yeah.
mean, when you're talking about your sphere, you're like, hey, it's not about like, you talked about all the different systems you use, and it could
Sure.
be a spreadsheet, it could be a software, but really what you have to do is set time aside and do it.
Sure.
What's going on in the market today? Hey, it's changing, but just get out there and do the work.
Yeah.
What
I
system should
hate
you use
yeah.
to get clients? Just whatever it is, do it.
Sure. I hate when anyone can make real estate a huge business if you last the first like 6 or 7 months, because then you have like the confidence. But a lot of people just don't want to put in the work, and it's really the sky's the limit on it's an uncapped upside if you're willing to work. And literally everyone needs a place to live. I say that all the time, but I don't know another profession where every person you walk by every day could be a customer.
Maybe a
Uh,
mortician, I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Those people, you don't know that you need them though, because at that point, but seriously, like we have commercial brokers at Pinnacle, and that's not true for them. Commercial real estate's way more of, like a business transaction, where residential real estate, I mean, I started out helping people lease apartments. I didn't just go straight into selling, multi-million-dollar homes. Like the first couple of years I played lacrosse at SMU, and my first customers were teammates that I just forced, they had to use me to find their apartment because we saw each other all the time.
Yeah.
And, but then I sold my first house like senior year, and then I was like, I don't know, this lacrosse thing is kind of boring now. I might focus more on the home selling. It's 21 years old and sell a $500,000 townhome or something. But
That is awesome. Well, Sam, we are running out of time here, and so I want to make sure that to give you the last word. But before we do that, people, they can see your hat. We've talked about your company a few times. Where can people go to find out more about you or about Pinnacle?
Yeah, our website is pinnaclera.com, and that's where you can find out all about the company. We have a blog. I write a Substack that's just samsawyer.substack.com. That's just every Friday. It's just like a topic in the real estate industry. So that's more just my thoughts, has nothing to do with Pinnacle specifically. But I started writing that during COVID when I was really bored, and now I have a lot of subscribers and I feel a responsibility to keep going. So it still comes out every week.
That's awesome. Maybe for the last word, maybe tell us what are you writing about tomorrow? Do you know?
So it's funny. I usually have like 4 or 5 things going at once during the week, and I'll probably work on it tonight and then finish in the morning. But the last couple of weeks, I wrote about like Chat GPT.
Oh,
and how
yeah, of
agents
course.
can use that. Tomorrow, I'm not gonna lie, I need to figure that out probably after this. So
Yeah, all right.
you'll see what happens between right now and tomorrow morning, and a
Right.
lot of stuff happens in my head. So
There we go. Yeah, write about your sphere. I thought that was great. I thought that was good. So
that's good. That's good. That's a good topic.
Sam, it has been great having you here. We didn't. The audience probably knows this, I didn't know Sam till like 35 minutes ago, and this has been so pleasant talking to you, Sam.
Yeah,
I loved
this has
having
been
you on
great.
here. We got to have you back. I love the knowledge that you have in the industry, and thank you for sharing it with our audience.
Yeah,
And thanks for
thanks a
taking
lot
time
for
out of your
having me.
day.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. This was great. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everybody for joining in, for seeing us here week after week. You can always find us at redx.com/podcasts. And you can download this podcast or listen to it wherever you like to listen to podcasts. We are available. And if there are any questions that we didn't get to or that you have still, just join us at the Lead Gen Conversation on Facebook, and we will continue that conversation there. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next week.